Hey there, Aquarius Rising. How you doing? This is your forecast taking you from Monday, the 8th of December, right the way through to Sunday, the 14th of December, 2025. My job here in this short sort of 10-15 minutes is to take you on a little journey of the week ahead, the most obvious, the most interesting different aspects. And so I'm looking planet to planet, like either in a conjunction, a square, etc., etc. Not so much about the moon, but more about the sort of planet to planet aspects and how that might mean something to you. Like, is it going to affect you in a particular way, and if so, how? And so that's what I'm going to be looking at. This is the week ahead when we've got the last opposition between Mercury and Uranus. We've also got Neptune going direct. We've also got Mercury going into the sign of Sagittarius. Now, with the Uranus energy here, that's going to be quite interesting for you, because obviously one of your ruling planets is Uranus. So this is quite significant to you. So let's have a look now. If you're new to this channel, by the way, my name's Louisa. So welcome to your weekly forecast. Hope you like it. And as ever, I'm just going to give some gratitude to the people that support my channel. Thank you so much. Anyway, this is the first chart. And as you can see, it's going from Monday the 8th to Sunday the 14th. So this is on the 8th. You'll see the moon is just in the sign of Cancer. And by the end of the week, the moon has moved from your 6th house right the way through to your 9th house. And it's about to go into your 10th house from Monday the 15th. That will be in the next follow-up forecast. So this is going to be going through your 7th house, to do with your relationships, your 8th house where it gets more intense in your relationships, and your 9th house where you start to lighten up a little bit at the end of the week. So yeah, let's put some extra meaning in. Now, before I do dive into the meaning, when you look at your birth chart, I'm just curious, do you see the symbol for Aquarius, or do you see the symbol for Aquarius and Pisces in this first wedge, in this first house? So these are the houses 1, 2, 3, right the way through to 12. In your first house, if you've got Aquarius and Pisces, if you've got Pisces in there as well, then it's also helpful for you to listen to the Pisces forecast. Anyway, so we're starting this week then, and the moon makes a really sort of like bold step forwards into the sign of Leo, which is where your relationships live. And at the same time, just a day later, we've got this Mars square to Saturn that's perfect. Now, Mars and the moon are both in fire signs. You've also got the sun and Venus in a fire sign, and also Chiron in a fire sign. So there's this really strong fiery energy going on. And given that the moon is in the 7th house, this makes this a lot more about relationships. And, you've got these 3 planets in the sign of Sagittarius. The 11th house here is also about relationships, but more friends. So this is partners, friends, and also community. So there's a lot going on here. But anyway, Mars is in a square to Saturn, and he's also, and you'll see later on this week, he is coming into a square with Neptune. So Mars is already working his way into these 2 squares. So while the moon is in Leo and your attentions are on your partner a lot more than usual, and if you don't have a partner, think of this as your best friend or your children or the people that you're around. You might find that your partners are a little bit more erratic, a little bit more emotional, a bit more needy, whilst the moon is in the 7th house in the sign of Leo. Now, at the same time, Mars in your 11th house making a square to Saturn in the 2nd really shows where any kind of resistance from people is eating away at your confidence. So, this is a time when you probably do want to help, and you've probably got the power and influence to be able to help people. And you've got a bit more time right now, with the sun, Venus and Mars in the 11th house. Most likely you're feeling quite cordial and also quite collaborative. So this is actually a recipe for being very helpful, towards others right now. And yet any kind of backlash or pushback that you're getting from people, and it just feels like it's a slap, and it's knocking your confidence, it's a sign that you're not ready. I just want you to know you are ready. It's just the planets are in a square, and they give you that kind of feedback. Mars is going to move beyond this square quite quickly by the like midway of next week. So we're talking maybe the 18th or the 19th of December. You should start to feel much better and much less penned in terms of how you can help the people around you. And so whatever's coming up the 8th and the 9th, you might find you're taking the requests from the people around you too seriously. So just recognize this is a time when your partners and friends just seem a lot more erratic and emotional than usual, and it's not really your job to make them happy, but you would if you could. So I see that as being quite a high energetic, and it can be quite tiring as well, if you're not able to help soothe them. Now, on Wednesday, the 10th, as the moon comes into the sign of Virgo, there's a whole heap of things going on. It actually on the 10th and the 11th. So I just want to work through this. First of all, Mercury is going into an exact opposition with Uranus, and Uranus is one of your ruling planets. And so this opposition is the last one. Thankfully, there's been 3, or this is the 3rd one. And this has been going on for just over a month, maybe a month and a half. And so this is clearing up something. And so whatever misgiving or difficult to resolve situation is happening at home or with family, it feels like things come out. Now, the energy here, I think, is really revelation. It's like revelatory. It's almost like something has been hidden. And so if you've been trying to get to the bottom of something and it hasn't quite come up, I really think that around the 10th and into the 11th, whatever it is that you need to know just comes up, it pops up. Almost a bit like magic, and it can be quite chaotic when it comes up. Now, Uranus is in opposition. Sorry, Mercury's in the 10th house in opposition. Mercury here gives you this really great power of seeing everything and being able to talk with authority. So you might find that your authoritative voice and the way you're communicating is actually helping in the release of this hidden information. Now, on the same day, Neptune that's been retrograde now goes forwards. And so in his retrograde position, he's really helped or actually hindered you from feeling very strong in yourself. So you might be really, really strong. You might be really confident. And yet there's been doubts have come up. And so when Neptune goes direct, which he does on the 10th, those doubts that you've been having about yourself and your capabilities, your ability to cope, those doubts are just kind of disappearing. It's almost like they're dissolving through a veil, like you were in a kind of crazy world and now all of a sudden you're back into the reality that and you can feel that everything is solid around you. You know that everything is okay. So I do think this is going to get better. Like the 10th and into the 11th, I think new information comes up. It's important information and you're feeling more confident. Now, Venus is also in a T-square to the north and south node at this point. Again, you're being encouraged to have faith in yourself. You're really encouraged to have value in yourself. You don't need to keep being the right person for everyone. And I think that's one of the problems. And to be fair, with Pluto in your first house, you probably don't want to be the right person for everyone, because the person that offends nobody is probably quite bland. And with Pluto in your first house, you're definitely not bland. You're really not bland right now. But the encouragement here is to be completely true to yourself and see the value in who you are. And so that could be a little bit uncomfortable, but it's the way to go. And then we've got Mercury coming into a lovely trine with Neptune, really encouraging you to use your imagination in your communication. And to me, it feels like there's something just clicks into place, almost like a subtle shift in how you see your job or you see your role, your mission, and all of a sudden things make sense. And then Mercury comes into the sign of Sagittarius. So the 10th to the 12th really just feels really quite transforming. When Mercury comes into the 11th house, into the sign of Sagittarius, if we're going to have 4 planets then in the sign of Sagittarius, and this is a time when you're going to be called upon right before Christmas to go to all these different do's and things like that. Everyone's going to want to see you leading up to Christmas, so you might get a bit overwhelmed that way. But Mercury coming into Sagittarius is a time when you feel really in alignment with the people around you. So it's a great time, quite uplifting. And then we're coming into the weekend, Friday the 12th, Saturday the 13th, and Sunday the 14th. And by which time the moon is in the sign of Libra. Now, with the moon here, it's a fellow air sign. You're feeling quite confident. You're also feeling like you want to wander a little bit, like you don't want to be too fixed in your location. And that's great. So, on Friday and into Saturday, you might want to have a good wander and explore and feel really alive in yourself, which I think is great. Also, Mercury is in a gorgeous sextile with Pluto from your 11th house to your first house. And so to me, it feels like if you spend time with people that you're in alignment with, there's going to be some kind of shift or some information shared or a confidence shared that's going to transform you in some way. So I think it's important Friday, Saturday to be quite social. But as we're coming into Sunday, the 14th, Mars comes into that final square with Neptune, and that can suddenly take our wind out of our sails. It might feel like you've spent a bit too much time with people, that you've opened up a bit too much, and now you're a little wary as to if you can trust them. So it's worth just bearing that in mind. However, on the same day, the sun is also coming into a trine with Chiron. And to me, this is just saying whatever you're feeling about yourself in terms of confidence, and whether you're too much for people and this, that, and the other, I actually think the sun making the trine to Chiron in your third house is giving you a longer term view. So if you can just think how I'm feeling right now is not necessarily a good marker of how my social ability, my social awareness is in usual terms. The sun in a trine to Chiron is showing you've got all the resources to create a really knockout relationship with anyone that you want to. And so I really hope you can remember that if you're feeling a little bit insecure. So there you go, from start to finish. I just think the 10th to the 11th is a time when there's a lot of shifts, a lot of personal magic going on, and you're going to be really coming to the end of a situation in particular, with Mercury in opposition to Uranus. I do think you're going to, you're going to have this chance to really iron out something at home. And of course, from that, the confidence grows. So hope that's helpful to you. Have a great week ahead. And if I can be of any help, just get in touch. All of my details are below. So catch you next week. Bye for now.